In the vast tapestry of Greek mythology, few stories are as dramatic and pivotal as the reign of Cronus. This is the tale of a titan, driven by ambition, consumed by fear, and undone by his own children. Cronus was one of 12 titans, born of Uranus, the sky, and Gaia, the earth. Together, the titans embodied the raw elemental forces of the universe, Oceanus, the endless rivers and seas who flowed quietly yet steadily supporting his siblings. Hyperion, the blazing sun, radiating power and pride. Theia, the goddess of light and vision, who saw far into the future yet held her knowledge close. Mnemosyne, the keeper of memory, who shaped the stories of the cosmos. Iapetus, the enforcer of mortal limits, whose strength was as cold as his logic. Zeus, the axis of intellect, the mind behind the strategy of the Titans. Phoebe, the glowing moon, a gentle yet resolute guide. Rhea, the queenly nurturer, destined to bear the gods of the next era. Cronus, the titan of constellations who charted the heavens. Tethys, the nourishing oceans whose waters gave life to the earth. And then there was Cronus, youngest but cunning, harboring a dangerous combination of charm, ambition, and cruelty. Cronus was different. He was a visionary and a strategist. Where some of his siblings hesitated, he acted. Where they dreamed, he schemed. Gaia, enraged by Uranus's cruelty towards their children, devised a plan to free them. She created a sickle made from flint and called upon her children, the Titans, to carry out her vengeance. But it was Cronus alone who stepped forward, driven by a burning desire to claim power for himself. In an act that would reverberate through eternity, during the night, as Uranus descended to lie with Gaia, Cronus ambushed his father and castrated him with Gaia's sickle, severing his divine power and authority and casting his severed genitals into the sea. From this bloodshed arose new life, the goddess Aphrodite, born from the foam that gathered around them. This pivotal moment not only marked Uranus's downfall, but also set in motion an era defined by conflict and ambition among the gods. With Uranus dethroned, Cronus ascended to power as the new ruler of the cosmos. However, this victory was merely a prelude to further strife. As his father fell, Uranus cursed Cronus with a chilling prophecy. "You too will be overthrown by your own child, as I was by mine." Cronus divided the universe among his siblings, ensuring their loyalty. Oceanus and Tethys ruled the rivers and seas, creating the endless flow of life. Hyperion and Theia commanded the sun and light, maintaining balance in the heavens. Their children, Helios, the sun, Selene, the moon, and Eos, the dawn, would later become significant figures in mythology. Zeus and Phoebe became keepers of prophecy, guiding the Titan's path. Cronus watched over the constellations, mapping the skies for signs of rebellion. Iapetus was associated with mortality and craftsmanship. His sons included Prometheus and Epimetheus, who would later defy the gods in their own ways. However, he remained largely passive during Cronus's reign. Themis, the Titaness of divine law and order. Themis represented justice and fairness. Mnemosyne, the Titan of memory, chronicled these events, though she knew too well the weight of history repeating itself. And Rhea, his sister, and now his wife, became his queen, a role that would bring her as much pain as it did power. As a ruler, Cronus proved no different from his father. Paranoia crept into his heart, fueled by Uranus's prophecy. Cronus ruled with an iron fist, ensuring loyalty through fear and cruelty. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncairs remained imprisoned in Tartarus, their cries ignored by the very brother who had promised them freedom. This act of betrayal sowed the seeds of enmity between mother and son. Cronus took his sister Rhea as his wife, and together they began to shape the new order. Rhea, gentle and nurturing, longed for harmony, but Cronus was consumed by his fear of losing power. One by one, Rhea bore him children: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. But Cronus, haunted by his father's curse, could not see them as his legacy. To him, they were threats, destined to usurp his throne. In his desperation, Cronus devoured each of his children at birth, swallowing them whole and imprisoning them within his own body to ensure they would never grow strong enough to challenge him. He believed he was securing his reign, but with each act of cruelty, he alienated the very family that once supported him. Rhea's heart broke with each loss, her pleas falling on deaf ears as Cronus's paranoia consumed him. But she would not remain silent forever. Rhea, heartbroken by the loss of her children, sought counsel from her mother Gaia. Together, they devised a cunning plan. When the time came for Rhea to give birth, she retreated to a hidden cave on the slopes of Mount Ida in Crete. There, she delivered a son, Zeus, away from Cronos' watchful eye. In the baby's place, she wrapped a stone in swaddling cloth and presented it to Cronus. Without a second glance, Cronus swallowed the stone, believing he had once again thwarted fate. But the winds of fate were already shifting. Zeus grew up in secret, raised by the nymphs Adrasteia and Ida, nourished by the milk of the divine goat Amalthea, and protected by Curetes' warriors, who masked his cries with clashing shields. Even as a child, Zeus was unlike any other. He was bold, cunning, and fiercely determined, traits that would define him as a leader. He learned about his family's tragic history and the cruel fate that befell his siblings at the hands of their father. Fueled by a desire for retribution and justice for his family, Zeus trained in secret, honing his powers and guided by wisdom from Metis, the Titaness of wisdom. He prepared for his destiny. Once Zeus reached maturity, he finally returned to Mount Orthrus and approached his mother Rhea, who had long suffered under Cronos' rule, and together they devised a plan to free his siblings. Disguising himself as a humble cupbearer, Zeus infiltrated his father's court. He offered Cronus a potion crafted by Metis, laced with a powerful emetic. Cronus, arrogant and unsuspecting, drank deeply. Moments later, he was overcome with violent convulsions, and one by one, the fully grown gods he had swallowed emerged from his mouth. Zeus's siblings were finally free. Weak and disoriented but alive, they joined their younger brother, who wasted no time in rallying them to his cause. Together, they retreated to Mount Olympus to regroup and plan their next move. The stage was set. Cronus, humiliated and enraged, would not let this rebellion go unpunished. Zeus, emboldened by his siblings' freedom and his own growing power, was ready to challenge the king of the cosmos. But this was only the beginning. The war between the Titans and the Olympians was on the horizon, a conflict that would reshape the heavens and the earth forever. Next time, the Titanomachy, the war that shaped the world. Please like the video and subscribe to see more content like this. Thank you very much and see you next time.